Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk! So, today we're going to talk about how America and Europe is being swarmed by UFOs, or are they drones? Or are they UFOs? I don't know. I, for one, have got my bump cap on today because you never know when UFO or drone material might fall out of the sky on your head. Don't. Life's hard. Wear a helmet. Before we get started, I want to encourage all of you to support this channel with your thumbs up, your sharing of videos, your subscription, your kind comments, and most especially your financial support. This channel is funded by viewers like you. You help me keep the lights on in my cabin in the woods, and without you, this channel would cease to exist. So if you've enjoyed these videos, if you find this informative, entertaining, enlightening, or inspirational, please consider becoming a financial contributor through the links in the description below. All right, so unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, and some of us do, there has been these widespread reports of drone sightings, some of them being as large as a small car. Combinations in the swarms of different sizes of drones, or are they UFOs? We don't know because nobody seems to know what they are. They've been spotted in various places, and that is the topic today. We're going to discuss whether this is an alien invasion or what is going on with all of these unidentified flying objects that are being sighted in key locations. Now, most people have probably heard of what's going on in New Jersey. In New Jersey, in a kind of a small town, rural area, they've been seeing these drones off and on for the past year. But since Thanksgiving and just before Thanksgiving, at the end of November, they started seeing more and more of these drones in larger groups hanging around in the air above, and nobody seems to know what they are. The FBI and the military, all of them are denying any knowledge as to what they are. In fact, they're asking for people's help in solving this drone mystery. Those are being reported as drones. I have seen up-close video of some of these drones, and quite frankly, they look kind of like spaceships. They're not really what you're used to seeing by way of a drone. And drones this large are not available on the consumer market. So there's a lot of speculation as to who's in charge of these drones, who's flying them, where are the operators, and what are they after in New Jersey. Really, to get to the bottom of this mystery, we need to go way back in time to the end of World War II. We've all heard of the Roswell, New Mexico UFO incident. There's several other incidences around this same time period that UFOs seem to have always been around, lights in the sky, but right after we used nuclear weapons against the Japanese in World War II, you saw this huge uptick and obvious increase in activities of the unidentified flying objects, or unidentified aerial phenomenon, they now call it, UAP. And some would speculate that the setting off of this massive nuclear device in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan triggered their involvement. Some, whether it's fiction or fact, insiders have claimed that they've received messages from aliens concerning our development of nuclear weapons. Some people, conspiracy theorists, and there's a pretty deep rabbit hole here, claim that these UFOs descended on the White House while Eisenhower was president and told him to stop developing these nuclear weapons and never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, use them again. And in return, they inked a deal to leak this advanced technology that we now live surrounded by to the United States for civilian and military use. Now, there's another lesser known story about a famous admiral, Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd was a Navy commander and explorer. And a thing called the Admiral Byrd's diary surfaced after he passed away. If you hear some clicking and popping, I got some laundry going on in the other room. Multitasking. And this diary claims to document a trip he made over the North Pole in an aircraft. He claims in the diary, whether you believe it's legit or not, or a work of fiction, to have found a hole in the Earth's crust at the North Pole that goes into an internal, under the ground kingdom inhabited by tall, blonde, and Nordic looking entities, creatures, humanoids. He was given a stiff warning during this visit that we were to cease and desist operating these nuclear weapons, developing them or using them. And as long as we, held to that and didn't continue this dangerous course of nuclear armament, that they would not get any more involved in our society, and they would stay to themselves in inner Earth. Now, there's also multiple sources from individuals who claim to channel aliens and have some kind of telepathic interaction with them. And this is a reoccurring theme, that we need to stop polluting the planet, and we need to stop developing, and we need to never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, use nuclear weapons, or we'll be invaded as a response. Now, you might have, if you're a guy like me who's on the internet a lot and watches a lot of YouTube videos, then you might have encountered this prophecy that the aliens would invade on December 3rd. Well, today's the 5th. No alien invasions so far. Or is that what we're witnessing in New Jersey and other places? Don't. Aliens are invading, man. Hide your kids in a soundproof box so they can't hear them, because we know that aliens hunt by sound. I don't know. Seeing is believing. I'd never seen one of these flying saucers. Well, maybe once when I was a kid. We saw some strangeness. I'll tell that in another story. But, yeah, Bigfoot, I believe, UFOs, I don't know, there's something's going on out there. We've had all of these congressional hearings where people have came and swore under oath before Congress that they witnessed these flying saucers up close. And whether or not you believe in UFOs is one thing, but if you do believe that UFOs are possible, you can't deny their interest in our nuclear weapons. According to one whistleblower who claims that there are still 4 living individuals who will, if asked to, go before Congress and testify that in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, there were several incidences of these unidentified aerial phenomenon, these UFOs, hovering over our nuclear missile silos and zapping them with some invisible ray, rendering them useless. There's also a story that I tend to believe that an unidentified flying object flew over a Navy battleship and rendered its weaponry useless for a time, took control of it. This is something that if you are involved in the military would be a frightening concept, that there may be an invisible enemy from another dimension or another planet that has the capability of disarming our nuclear payloads remotely through some kind of beam or ray or technology that we don't understand. This individual on the internet says he's got 4 of these guys in his pocket that will tell their stories if they just have to get immunity. That's the thing. They won't testify because they've been sworn to secrecy, and they do not want to be committing treason by violating their oaths, and therefore potentially going to prison. So if they get an immunity deal, they'll testify before Congress Not sure that's ever going to happen. They told them to keep their mouth shut for a reason, because they're covering this up, don't you think? Don't, alien cover up. Oh, I got to think like a Gen Zer. Hashtag alien cover up. There we go. Get it straight. Do you use emojis? I don't know. I'm definitely not a boomer. Don't call me a boomer, but I'm a Gen Xer. I can't believe I know how to work this stuff enough to do this video I'm making here. Keep this channel up. So, are they aliens? And if so, what's their interest in New Jersey? What is their interest in these other locations that are getting similar reports? So let's talk about the other locations besides the New Jersey drones, which that alone has been seen by hundreds of people. There's vast video on this. And like I said, these flying objects do not really look like drones to me. They look like some kind of spaceship about the size of a Toyota Corolla. And there's different types, all working together, some flying in formation, some others being random. Now, there's lesser known reports coming out of Arizona. There is a location in Arizona that is it's a restricted airspace. The reason is that it's a test range where they test new weaponry and space-age fighter planes and experimental fighter planes. And this area is not supposed to have anybody in it. It's kind of an Area 51 kind of restricted access area in Arizona. And they've been having problems for more than a year with drones flying in this deserted desert. And here's the thing about it. If it were a typical drone, you'd have to be within a certain distance of the drone to operate it. Typically, you'd want line of sight with the drone to operate it. And civilian drones require that. Now, military drones can be controlled from a basement under the Pentagon, right? And flown all over the world. But because this is an area that's heavily guarded there in Arizona, they've been unable to locate any operators. When they have these drones flying, they search all over the ground looking for the operators, and they cannot find them. And this is a little disturbing because of what this place is, because that's where we test our top secret weaponry. Another set of drone sightings. Drones, or are they UFOs? Don't know. Can't tell. But apparently there's been swarms of drones sighted over all of our Air Force bases in England. Any joint operation Air Force base in England has been now scouted by these swarms of drones. That the FBI is investigating the ones here in America, military intelligence, CIA, they're all on the job here trying to figure out why and how these drones are accessing our airspace over these classified areas, these Air Force bases in England that are operated by the English Air Force, the Royal Air Force, but we have an American component that works side by side with them. So these are joint task force Air Force bases in England. This, when you look at it in totality, is very disturbing. Like, it's a good reason to put on a helmet. Like, it's okay to be paranoid. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, right? Don't. And we've got all of these reports of drones. Now, we understand the ones in Arizona are more than likely targeting this restricted airspace where experimental aircraft are tested and munitions are tested. And then also in England, obviously, that's somebody with who's investigating our military capabilities in those Air Force bases, those joint bases. And what about Jersey? Why would they be interested in Jersey? What's Jersey got? Well, there's a couple things near to this area where these drones in Jersey have been spotted. One of them is the Picatinny Arsenal. Picatinny, does that ring any bells? If you have a Picatinny rail on your gun, it's because it was developed at the Picatinny Arsenal. Or so I believe. That's the only thing I can figure would why they would why did they name the Picatinny Rail the Picatinny Rail? Makes sense, because the Picatinny Arsenal is where all of our new weapons are developed and tested. That anything from small arms to artillery, all of this is developed and tested at the Picatinny Arsenal, which has been flown over by these drones on numerous occasions. The other thing is Trump's got a big resort in Jersey, very close by there. He has the Trump International Golf Course, and maybe they're surveilling that. A lot of people are thinking maybe this is a lead up. Maybe they're after Trump. Well, could be, because yet another set of drone sightings have happened over Mar-a-Lago, Trump's home and base of operation in Florida. That Mar-a-Lago has also been overflown, hovered over by these mysterious drones, packs of drones, none of them really matching, all of them having a different shape and size, some of them being as big as cars, and some of them having fixed wings and having wings as a wingspan as far as 14 feet. So these are not little buzz around drones you buy at Radio Shack. And apparently the FBI's either not telling us what's going on or they're pulling up zeros, because they're asking people for footage. They're asking people for eyewitness accounts. They seem to be clueless as to what these drones are. So here's where we start the speculation on this channel. We love to speculate. Remember, Coffee Talk is for things I find interesting but don't necessarily believe. It's a free space to speculate. It's where we guess what the heck is going on. So here's where we start guessing. I figure you got two options here. Either we're so close to nuclear war, we're so close to arming up and getting ready, there's so many threats going back and forth, that these are aliens. These are aliens scouting our locations, looking for intelligence and information concerning our readiness for nuclear war, whether we're planning a first attack, what do they call that? First attack capabilities, first strike. Whether we're trying to plan a first strike, or Russia or China might be planning a first strike, and these alien craft are invading our airspace and making themselves perfectly visible, not even trying to hide it. In fact, they've got flashy lights all over them, red and green and white. Wait, that's Christmas colors. Maybe it's Santa Claus. Don't. Is Donald Trump on the naughty list? Actually, I'm not on the naughty list, actually. I'm on the good list, because no problems, please. I'm trying to quit. Speaking of, this week I had to replace the heating element in my hot water heater, and my car's sitting out front with a flat tire. So I need help in the... if you want to leave me a donation to help me with my maintenance issues around here. But back to the story. Could be aliens. These could be alien craft. They definitely don't fit the MO of military craft. Now, what's the other option? Well, there has been a lot of saber rattling. Vladimir Putin has threatened both to assassinate the leaders of our country, which would at this point include Donald Trump, the leaders of European nations. He's threatened to nuke our bases in NATO countries. Most of the stuff we're using against him starts in those European bases, specifically what's going out of England. And Putin has a problem with both the English, both the UK and the United States, because of our involvement in the war in Ukraine and the use of these long-range weapons, which we talk about at length on this channel. So this could be a scouting operation to gather real-world, real-time intel on targets. Are they targeting our experimental aircraft in Arizona? Are they targeting our munitions and small arms development center in Picatinny? Are they in New Jersey? Are they scouting out possible locations to hit Donald Trump? If so, is it Putin? Is it the Chinese? Is it the North Koreans? Could they be behind all of this? Well, honestly, if I had to guess, I'd say brace yourselves. We're on the verge of a nuclear war. Now, if any of those alien stories of intervention in case we get in a nuclear war are true, then we might see an invasion, which leads me to a UFO, an alien invasion to stop it. Which leads me to another thing that's been rolling around since forever. Back in like 79, a computer scientist put together one of the early algorithms, and he asked this machine to predict when and if we would have an alien invasion. And he predicted that this alien invasion would happen on December 3rd. Well, we didn't get invaded on the 3rd, but it was about the 3rd when almost every small news organization around these regions, also even national news, and even today the national news is talking about what's going on in New Jersey, that was the day when it really hit the press about what's been going on, even though it's been going on for more than a year, even though it really kicked off in late November. By December 3rd, the date that the computer prophecy of an alien invasion, that specific date, right on that date is when we became aware of all of these drones, if that's what they are, as drones, or are they UFOs? Now, I think that aliens are demons and demons are aliens. We're probably in the end time, so, flying scorpions with stings in their tails and beasts coming out of the ocean and all kinds of calamity is something you'd expect for the end times. And an alien or demonic invasion might very well fit the bill and fulfill all of those in a very literal way. So tell me, what do you think is going on? I don't believe there's evidence to support that this is some drone enthusiast. The president of the biggest drone enthusiast group in America has come out and said, we don't really have anything like this. If these are drones, they're the kind of craft that we don't have access to and are not a part of our community. And he suggested they had to be military of military origin. They had to be a foreign government or experimental U.S. craft is another thing he talked about. But why would they fly them around New Jersey? Why would they be so open and obvious? Even if they're Russians, why would the Russians be so unveiled and unmasked as to fly these things in the open? I think it's probably because they can't be traced. We don't know where they're from. We can't get any radar signature on these. And yeah, it's a big mystery, but the FBI is absolutely investigating this. So tell me, is it aliens? Is it Russians? If it's Russians, we better, y'all better get your helmets on, because they're gearing up to attack us on our mainland and attack Europe as well, which would go in line with Putin's threats. So I tend to lean on the this is not aliens, this is Russia prepping their final steps to try to destroy the United States and Europe in a nuclear showdown. And they're not stopping their plans just because Trump got elected. They're going to wait and see how Trump handles himself. And like I said before, the only thing standing between us and World War III is probably Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, that's the position he's in right now. And it'll be up to him to stop the madness. But it's starting to look like these might be covert indicators of a Russian attack coming on the United States and Europe, and specifically targeting our munitions plants and our Air Force bases and our experimental aircraft. Is this going to be a decapitation strike? Is that why they're looking at the Trump properties to try to get him while he's at home kicking back? I'll tell you another part of this that I left out. I almost left it out. Drones over the Capitol. If you look back just a couple weeks before Thanksgiving, one of the big stories was these lights over the Capitol that no one knew what they were or what they were doing there. That's also restricted airspace, and yet here they were. Are they alien craft? Are they Russian or Chinese drones? Is it time to buy a helmet? Tell me what you think in the comments section below. And we'll see you next time on Coffee Talk.